I used to know a safe cracker. It's possible I could look him.
Joe has taken the whole safe to use the rule which resets everything except the objects. Now he's got the clock, the prime object. So all he's got to do is just bringing his daughter back and living his normal life again. Still, his daughter doesn't return. Weasel has an expect failure, so it seems that he deceived Joe. It doesn't turn out well for him.
This can't be, it's impossible. Prime object, it's the clock. Look, we had a deal. I get you that clock, you give me the key.
The situation doesn't get better. Joe is back at his starting point.
No.
Joe continues to run away, but despite all his efforts he gets captured by Kreuzfeld'S gang. Joe is supposed to die right away, but he's wearing a coat, one of the objects of Kreuzfeld. He risked his life and robbed Kreuzfeld's safe to bring his daughter back.
My daughter went inside that room, the motel room.
So if he's in his right mind he cannot expect Kreuzfeld to understand Joe.
Walk away. You certainly don't know just how deep this well goes.
But contrary to his expectation, Kreuzfeld seems to like Joe a little bit. He doesn't kill him and even lets Joe go.
Take the coat, let him go.
We have a lot in common, Detective.
Joe gets another chance to bring his daughter back.
In the beginning, there was one cabal, the Collectors.
The next day Joe visits Kreuzfeld and he gets to listen to everything about the history and secret of the objects. Against his expectation, Kreuzfeld is very amicable.
Just telling him about our plans to cure you. What's the name of your disease?
Leukemia.
Perhaps now you see why I'm so...
Because he and Joe are dealing with a similar problem. Collectors, the group that started to collect this strange objects, had hidden only important objects among the 100 objects of their collection. All of them are gone. They are dead or vanished.
I might have scratched it. Let me see if I can give you something for the scratch.
Joe visits a nephew of one of the collectors.
Harold Stritsky!
Harold Stritsky staggers like a drunkard.
Harold, I need your help. I just want to ask you a few questions.
He flees using an object, Haircom, so no one has caught him so far. So it seems that Strysk always slips through like a ghost, but whenever he uses the power it makes him seriously dizzy. So it's impossible for him to move far away.
Holy crap! This is the room we're in!
Stritsky has never met other object holders, so naturally he's never seen any power of other objects. Joe's doesn't seem to be interested in his object and is only seeking for help to bring his daughter back. So Stritsky decides to help him.
Well, he'll be pretty obvious.
If the comb holder combs his hair, the time goes slow. It's an amazing object, but not everyone can use the same power. Each possessor uses each objects differently and they make different results.
Hey, here, thanks.
Promise? You won't take my comb?
Stritsky watches Joe and develops a sense of bond. So he and Joe heads to the keepsake which his aunt, a former collector, has left.
She asked me to hide it until it was time.
The objects in the photo he handed in doesn't look special but looks like everyday items.
Gallop. Like a horse.
Joe can't tell what power they possess.
It's an object.
He visits Wally to ask about the power of the objects.
What is this? What's in Gallup?
If I show you what's there, there's no going back. It won't bring your daughter home.
He must be able to find a clue in the place called Gallup. It is the only information written on the photo, but Wally strongly warns him against going there. Even if it's dangerous there, Joe has no choice but going. He has to do anything to return to a normal life. He even has to take a risk of sacrificing himself.
You knew this was here the whole time?
It's a bad place.
Wally knows secrets of unsolving mysteries of this motel and he tells him story of a terrible event in 1961.
The objects want to be put back together.
Joe came here and he met Wally and Weasel. All things happen because the objects draw object possessors together.
Where's room 10?
There is no room 10.
The two enters the room that says room number 9, but the door is a portal to access room number 10 when it's opened with a key. Suddenly, with a sharp shriek, an unidentified woman shouts at Joe. Joe thinks she might be locked up in the hidden room number 10. After then, he visits one man who is a former owner of the motel with a Legion member, Jennifer.
Please tell me what happened.
I don't know.
My daughter disappeared inside that motel room, same as your wife.
To his surprise, he is one of the founding member of Collectors. He and his wife were members of Collectors.
There were still a few objects inside. Pretty soon we were this group.
The collectors.
She had performed an experiment using a prime object in the room number 10 to gain power.
This is a copy. The original was stolen. Like she opened a tear in reality.
What the hell is happening?
And the door of the hell is no longer active because she had vanished with a dazzling light.
And if you do find my wife, please put her out from misery.
I don't understand.
Found the clue and they return to the motel.
What is that?
And then Joe discovers the hidden power of the photo that Stritsky gave him. The power is showing the past, the room in 1961.
The occupant in room 10.
Incredible.
It doesn't seem important, but maybe he's got a chance to know the secret origin of all the objects and the real owner of them.
What's the name of the collector who owned that book?
Clark, he was one of the original collectors.
To find the hidden prime object, Joe tracks down the secret storage of collectors with Kreuzfeld.
Excuse me?
And they make it.
We're taking the clock, the scissors, and the key, and no other objects. I think I got it.
Kreuzfeld and Joe opens the door of the storage to access objects that possess incomparable power than the other objects. They've been hidden there for decades.
Oh my God. We found it.
There are objects no one actually has held but only heard of, and a glass eye that Kreuzfeld needs.
Do you know what the quarter does, Joe?
Kreuzfeld finally found the glass eye and he swallowed the coin in front of Joe.
Oh my God.
He died 9 years ago.
The coin he swallowed was an object and it turns coin users' imagination into reality, and the reality lasts for a moment.
I can bring my boy back. I can bring him back to life. We can both bring our children back.
He believes if he conduct the experiment of 1961 again and succeed, he will become a god.
The quarter brings living memories as well.
So Kreuzfeld goes on to restart the failed experiment. Actually, poor Joe has been completed, betrayed and used. Even though his key and all the other objects are taken, he still possesses Wally's bus ticket. Just in time, Wally and Jennifer are waiting for him there.
You were right about Kreuzfeld.
He's trying to recreate the Conway experiment.
Jennifer already knew that the reason Kreuzfeld was collecting objects was that he needed them to conduct experiment. Joe has no other choice but visiting the guy in the photo who is his last hope and the original owner of the object.
All right, think. What do we know about the occupant?
Nothing. Without zapping myself here.
They had no clue about the occupant until then.
Whoa. Willowbrook, Arizona. That's where he came from.
But the two finds out where the possessor used to live from the bus ticket, which is one of the object of occupant. After then, to put missing puzzle together, Weasel introduce an expert who knows the best about the objects to Joe.
Is to find this man.
The expert shows Joe one statistic that he made based on the information he gained while tracking down the objects and making a record for a long time.
I've collected as much history of the objects as I can.
And it gives a hint that helps Joe to find the occupant.
No object has ever been through there.
The statistic suggests all the objects are drawn to each other by power and repeat doing so, but the objects didn't pass one specific spot. At the same time, Kreuzfeld is implanting a glass eye that is one of collector's objects, and he's giving up vision in his one eye. You can say the power of the eye is the most tremendous power, so it beats Legion members in a flash. Finally, he got a chance to meet the occupant who only seemed to be a legend. He was staying in the psychiatric hospital in loneliness.
I just want to ask you.
Easy! Easy, it's okay.
And the occupant named Eddie goes crazy at sudden and attempts suicide. But he can't blow his head and his head remains intact.
My little girl went into that motel room and she never came out.
She's still there.
Actually, Eddie was one of the objects of the motel and he was the prime object. Joe believed the occupant was a god, but he was an object as well. Still, he was there when the objects were created, so he knows the only way to bring Joe's daughter back. At the same time, in the room number 9, Kreuzfeld doesn't know that the occupant exists.
I want to see my son.
He's set everything and the door of room number 10 opens. When an experiment begins, the door can't be closed without someone's sacrifice.
Isaac, no.
When everyone is in pain, the occupant walks into the motel room and Joe follows him.
I feel like myself again in here.
Who are you? What, the prime object?
No, there's no prime object.
The occupant promises Joe that when Joe goes to the motel he will bring his daughter back, but he says that there's no such thing as a prime object, and it puzzles Joe.
You have to kill me. One object is destroyed, another is created. Conservation of objects.
So the only way to bring his daughter back is killing the occupant in the motel room and becoming an object.
Everything, Joe. This is the price. This is the price to get your daughter back. Please.
Joe cannot easily accept his offer, but if he doesn't take this chance now, he might not be able to bring his daughter ever again.
Will my daughter remember me?
I'm sorry.
After hard consideration, Joe accepts the unrefusable offer. He chooses to bet his life and gamble.
God forgive me.
Daddy!
Anna! You sure you're okay? Huh? You alright?
Thank you for watching Movie Goes Movie Recap. Next time, if you want to watch fun and various movie recaps, please subscribe and thumbs up.